Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Aurora Moon and today we're going to be having a little bit of a story time for when I got my double nose piercings. Now you're probably watching this because you're thinking about getting a double nostril piercing but you don't really know the whole process. So I am 1 week in the process and I wanted to share my experiences. I got my nose piercings on the 26th of October 2020, so I've had it for about a week now. It was done at Skin Candy in Mount Druitt in Australia. Yes, I wanted the symmetry. It cost me $100, so that would be $40 per piercing, and then because I got glass retainers, it was another $10 each time. So 40 plus 40 plus 10 plus 10, 100. I got glass retainers put in because I'm starting a new job soon and I don't know if they're going to approve of nose piercings, and I thought having glass retainers would be useful. They're both 18 gauge, 8mm, and they're not an L shape and they're not quite a corkscrew. I'll put a photo up here of what they look like if I can find it. You're getting a needle put through your skin, so of course it's going to hurt. And in my personal opinion, when you get two done in the same sitting, the second one is always going to hurt more because you waste your adrenaline on the first one. Just keep that in mind. I knew that going into it and I was still fine. Like I still sat there and just took it. Before she marked it, she got an alcohol swab and cleaned the inside and outside of my nose. She marked it up with a toothpick with ink in it, some blue ink toothpick, and she dabbed on the dots where she thought would be even, and then she made me look down so she could get it even that way, and made me flare my nostrils and unflare, flare, unflare, look down. She adjusting the whole time, and she got me to look into the mirror, and then I was like, this one might be a little bit more forward, so she was really patient with me. She moved it back. I literally said to her, I trust you to get them straight, and I think she nailed it. You can't really tell right now because they are the glass retainers. Then she got me to sit down, gave me a little cordial because I was a little bit nervous, even though I've got multiple piercings already. I was still a little bit nervous, but it was more excited nerves. She's like, I'll just have the cordial just in case. So I had half of it before the piercing, and then I sat down, braced myself, and I basically had my eyes closed the entire time, but I knew what she was doing because I could feel it. She put the receiving tube in my right nostril and she pierced that one first. She left the needle in, my eyes were closed the entire time. She put the receiving tube in my left nostril. She pierced that one. So she put that one in. That didn't hurt too bad. It just went boop, in. That was fine. And then boop, in. That was also fine. And she cleaned up my nose. She held a little tissue in my left nostril and I was like, is it bleeding a little bit? And she's like, just a little bit. And then she was holding it there for a little bit. I'm like, so how much is a little bit? Be honest with me. And she's like, yeah, a little bit more than a little bit. And then she just gave me a few tissues just in case it bled on the drive home. In the car, it did tickle a little bit, which that happened to be blood. So I just dabbed it off a little bit. My nose was the itchiest it has ever been on that ride home. Because I could not scratch it, it was itchy. For the first 3 days, my nose was incredibly itchy. And I had to make sure I washed my hands before I tried to get little ever so gentle scratches in there. After the first night, it didn't bleed at all. I'm cleaning it twice a day with wound spray. This has been a godsend. I use it for all of my piercings. I spray a little bit on some cotton buds and then I wipe around one side with one side of the cotton bud, and then I flip the cotton bud, spray some more on it, and then wipe the inside. And I get a new cotton bud and do the same for the other one. She told me to do this for 8 weeks and then just once a day after that. and she told me that it should be healed in 3 months, which I'm not going to change them out for probably 6 months because I am paranoid. This is what she gave me for that. I'm not really a makeup wearer. I only do it for videos or if I'm going out. If I'm feeling a little bit fancy, I'll wear makeup, but day-to-day life, I don't wear makeup. So in the last week, I've worn makeup once, and that was 4 days in. I got it pierced on the Monday. I wore makeup the Friday, and I was super gentle when I was applying it. I applied makeup extremely lightly. I don't wear a lot of it, and I avoided the nostril area. So everywhere else avoided that. I was going to wait at least 2 to 3 months before I swam, but because of a job that I have, I had to do a swim test, which was in a chlorinated indoor heated pool, and I was extremely paranoid that I would either lose them, they would just fall out because they're not being held in with anything, they just popped in. I was worried that they would either fall out or I would get an infection from the chlorine. So I went to my local store and I picked up these. These were recommended to me by a few Facebook groups, some waterproof band-aids. And what I did, because I didn't want the whole band-aid just on my nose like that, it would look a little bit ridiculous. So these ones are really easy to just rip. I just ripped the sticky part off. So I had this part on my nose and I just pressed it in nice and gentle all around it and then folded it under if it poked out a little bit, which it did because I have a tiny nose. Same with the other one, I just ripped that off too and put it on. Obviously I washed my hands before I put this on and it's in a sterile little packet, so I didn't have to worry about that. Sterile. And then I swam, didn't have any issues with it. And then I had a shower after I swam and I made sure I peeled it ever so gently off whilst holding it in case the adhesive just pulled the piercing out. I was super paranoid about that too, but luckily it didn't happen. These came off really easily and then I didn't have to worry about pulling my piercing out. And then I just rinsed it with some of the fresh water that was coming through the shower. I had some normal soap that I got all sudsy in my hands, and then I just patted it around and then like rubbed a little bit around my nose so I didn't have any chlorine on them, and made sure it had a nice stream of water. And then I cleaned my hands, I cupped some water in the shower and I just shoved my face in it and just blew bubbles. So it would agitate the inside as well and clean the inside as well as the outside. I just saw a few YouTubers with it and I thought it looked really cool. I wasn't too sure about one side of the nostril being pierced, so I thought, symmetry, I'll get both nostrils pierced. The YouTubers that inspired me are Gretchen, Brienne Barbie, and Rolly.